Welcome back, guys. Episode, I think, 5 now of the How to Build a Bankroll at 1-3. Recording every single hand I play, literally every single hand I open 10-9 off, I get 3-bet, I fold, it makes it in the video. I will also be playing on KK, trying to satellite into the 3 tournaments that are going to be running at Starlight. It's the 230, the 325, and the 1K. It's a $40 entry, so if you also want to play that with me, link is in the description. Click down below. But anyways, guys, we are down 1,900-ish on the challenge. Today, we're going to book a win. That's it. I don't care if it's $1, $2. I just want to book a win, okay? So we're going to tighten up a little bit. We're going to drop a few of the looser opens from my normal opening range. And we're just going to play a very solid, tight style. And that is it, guys. We are just going to book a win. We need it. We need one. All right, let's go. We are back at Grand Villa playing some 1-3 in for the max $500, and we are very card dead to kick things off. First 40 minutes, no playable hands until we pick up pocket 7s in the small blind. There are 3 limps, and we go for the isolation raise up to $20. We only get 1 caller from middle position, so good news, we're going heads up to the flop, which comes down okay. It's Jack 10, deuce, 2 diamonds, and a heart. Obviously not what we're really hoping for, so out of position, I like checking the best. So that is what I do, and my opponent checks behind. Off the turn, and it comes down the 8 of diamonds, another very bad card. I see no sense in betting here. We do have a gut shot, but we're not really going to get called by worse. Maybe pocket 6s, pocket 5s with a diamond. Something like that, but I don't see too many hands calling us. So I'm going to go ahead and check again, and middle position checks behind. We head to the river, and it comes down the 4 of spades. I think it's pretty clear we got the best hand here. Sometimes he's going to have an 8, and we're going to value own ourselves, but I want to get a little bit of value versus some smaller pocket pairs. So I go for a small block bet, $15, and my opponent just folds. Okay, folks, we're still very card dead, but that's not the reason I'm playing this hand. Whoever wins this pot has to buy drinks, so that is why I'm getting involved here. Hijack is raised to 15. I go ahead and flat, and we go heads up to a flop, which comes down king, queen, 3, 2 diamonds, and a spade. He checks it over to me, and don't really understand the math if the winner has to buy the drinks, but I have a flush draw, so I go for a bet of 10, to which he folds his ace high, meaning I have to pay the $25 for the drinks, so I actually lost money this hand despite winning it. Anyways, on to the next one. Another 30 minutes goes by until we get our next playable hand. We are very card dead, but just chilling for now. Hijack has raised to 20 over 2 limps, and this is one of 2 players that I will call such a big raise pre-flop against. So I don't really like 3-betting him. He gets pretty aggressive with 4-bets, so I think just call in position makes the most sense. So that is what I go ahead and do, and both the limpers come along as well. We're going 4 ways to the flop, and I do catch a piece on the 10, 9, 7 rainbow. I'm going to backdoor flush draw, middle pair, top kicker, but now the original raiser goes ahead and bets $60. So he's not going to be c-betting like ace, king, ace, queen here. He's got either a strong draw or top pair or an over pair here. So we could float here, but I also look at under the gun and he looks like he likes his hand. And he's only got like 100 something behind. So I think if I call, he's going to ship it all in. And then I think it's just getting a bit dicey. So I'm going to go ahead and make a pretty tight fold here. So that is what I do. And indeed, the other player did reshove, and then low jack raises it up to 300. So we managed to dodge a few bullets there, and we get to preserve our stack. We're about 2 hours into the session now, picking up our 4th playable hand. We open up the ace-10 offsuit up to $10. We get 1 caller from the low jack before the button puts in the 3-bet up to $40. Small blind folds, big blind calls, and sometimes I would like to 4-bet this hand, but button has been very snug. Versus someone like that, we can just play pure value. We don't need 4-bet bluffs because we are going to get 5-bet jammed on nearly every single time. So we're just going to have to go ahead and unfortunately make the fold. Seems like when you're card dead, you get 3-bet quite often. But anyways, let's move on to the next hand. We've got 2 limpers, and the lady to my right is raised it up to $20. She's been going 25 or 30 every hand, so I'm going to 3-bet this just because of the smaller sizing. And the hand has okay playability post-flop in case we get called by a pocket pair, so I do go ahead and bump it up. $60 is my raise, and action folds all the way around, so we're picking up a nice $30 there uncontested. Okay, guys, the game is getting very good. Look at small blind stack. He's got $1,600 at a 1-3 game and has blind raised the small blind up to $25 because there's a button straddle on.
I look over at Jack 8 suited and think about it for a bit, but I think he's going to call with a lot of dominated hands like 8-7, 8-6, 10-8, 9-8 offsuit. And the players behind me are going to be very passive, and I don't think they're going to want to get involved, even with a hand as strong as like Ace-Jack offsuit. I think they most likely will be folding that hand. They're definitely folding Ace-10 if I go for the raise here. So I think it's a decent spot. I don't think it's making that much money, but I do want to get involved with this player. So I go ahead and go for the raise up to $60. Folds over the small blind, who does decide to call blind. So very good news as we heads up to a flop of 8, 7, 4, 2 hearts, and a diamond. A very good start. He checks it over to me. And I think small bet is the only sizing here because he can definitely have some flop straights. So we're going to just go for $40. He checks his cards, rips it all in like a half second. We unfortunately cannot fold versus this player. It's going to be very unfortunate when he has like an 8 that beats us. You know, Ace 8, King 8, Queen 8. Those would all play this way, but more likely than not, he's just going to have 10-9 here. He's going to have 7-6. He might even just have like King 5 and just go with it. He's absolutely nuts. So there's no thought here. We must call. We are up against the Jack 9 of hearts. So actually pretty bad news. We're slightly behind in equity. He can hit a 9, a 10, or any heart. Let's see if we can get one hold. Hold! The turn comes down. The 10 of clubs, and we are immediately drawing to a chop. We need a 9 to chop. The river is unfortunately Ace of Spades, and we are going to lose a big one. Only played 5 hands, and this one was devastating. We have to reload another $500 and get back into the mix. The button straddle is live, and we're in the hijack with the King Deuce of clubs. Not really sure this is an open because we're going to be playing out of position, but there are only 2 people that we have to get through, and King Deuce has some nice removal just to take it down pre-flop. So I do go for the raise. I bump it up to $20. Cutoff folds, and button does make the call. We go heads up to a flop of King 10 for rainbow. Top pairs have not been good to us. I don't think we've won a pot with top pair in the last 2 days, but let's see if this will change things. But top pair weak kicker, probably want to go for a check here out of position, so that is what I do. My opponent checks behind. We see the 9 of hearts on the turn, introducing quite a few draws. I think it's definitely time to start building the pot. I'm not too worried about Queen Jack. I do think that would raise pre-flop, or on the flop. It would bet on the flop, so anyways, I go for a half pot bet of $20, which my opponent calls. We head to the river, and it's not a great one. It's the 8 of clubs, so 7-6 did just get there. Same with 9-8, 10-8, maybe even 8-4. It's a pretty connected river, but I think there's still some value to be had from hands like Jack 10, Queen 10, Queen 9, Jack 9, something like that. Maybe even like Jack 8 that just gets a little bit curious. So I go ahead and put in a value bet. $60 is my wager. And we send our opponent deep into the tank. He's given a bit of thought, and after about a minute, starts counting out chips. And it doesn't look like it's going to be $60. And indeed, it is a raise up to $130. We are getting absolutely cooked this session. We, of course, make the fold. River raises are just almost never a bluff, especially at 1-3. So, yeah, that's a tough one to let go. Add on another 100. We are stuck 600 in this game. Let's not have another losing session, please. In this next hand, we have a limp, and the player 2 to my right has raised up to $15. Quite a bit smaller than he normally goes, so I think I'm going to try and attack this sizing, and I go ahead for the re-raise with the Queen 9 of spades up to $50. Mostly folding this hand, but sometimes re-raising is okay. Anyways, folds back around, and he does make the call, so we're going heads up to a flop, which is all right. It's Jack, 4, deuce, 2 diamonds, and a heart. We obviously don't have anything, but it's going to be pretty tough for opponent to continue across multiple streets unless he has top pair or a flush draw. So I kick things off with a small bet, just $35, and he calls. We head to the turn. It's not a great one. It's a Jack of spades. So if he does have a Jack, we're just never getting him off it, but it's also going to make him less likely to fold a hand like pocket sevens. But we don't even get there because my opponent goes ahead and leads into us for 115. There goes another 100. We top off our stack to another $60. I think I added on. Try to guess close to 500, but we are not adding on anymore. I do not want to lose any more money at 1-3 like 3 consecutive weeks. So this is it. This is all we're playing with, guys. We fold. Okay, folks, I missed this recording. I accidentally took a screenshot instead of recording, but we're going to go through this hand because it's a pretty big one. Lady to my right has raised to $30. I don't really want to 3-bet her because if we get 4-bet, we just have to fold. It kind of sucks. So I just go for a call here with the pocket nines, and this invites 3 other players into the mix. We are going 5 ways to this $150 flop. We do flop ourselves an overpair on 8, 6, 4, 2 clubs, and a spade. Action checks all the way to her, and she fires in a small c-bet of $35. And I think about it for a bit, and I just think that she would go bigger if she had an overpair. Like, there's a lot to protect from on this board. Pot's already quite big. So I think a protection raise is in order here. We can definitely get some value from an 8 that's out there, especially with these players in the mix. So I go ahead and I go for a small-ish raise up to 120. Small blind is deep in the tank, taking about like a minute or two. Eventually counts out calling chips and then puts them forward, but says all in for his 250. That's a very bad sign. Big blind takes maybe 5 seconds, calls his 250. Under the gun folds. The original razor folds, and now it's back on us. Big blind still has like 4K behind, so I don't think there's much we can do here. I think we just ran into a set. So I do go ahead and make a fold. It really hurt. And small blind had pocket 4s and big blind had pocket 8s, so kind of unfortunate, but we do manage to dodge some bullets. But that is another $150 leaving our stack. We're now down to 250 left in our stack. We're not topping off. It's not going well, guys, but let's move on to the next hand. On to the next hand. We were quite card dead this session, and then to add to it, every time I was in the small blind and big blind, the button straddle was on, so we're just getting absolutely clobbered in the blinds. But this time, we do have a premium ace-king offsuit here. I go ahead and bump it on up to $15. We get 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to this flop, which comes down quite nice. It's ace, 6, 4 rainbow. Out of position, probably going to be close to a range check here, so I think ace-king could bet sometimes, but I'm going to go for the check here. Probably going to go for the check raise depending on the bet size, but unfortunately action just checks through. We head to the turn, it comes down the 9 of diamonds, so board's getting pretty connected here. There's a lot of gut shots, there's quite a few pairs that I can get value from, so definitely time to start building this pot. I go for a 2/3 bet of $40. Under the gun folds, low jack folds, button folds. We finally won a pot with top pair, and it doesn't even feel good. But anyways, it's nice to pick up a pot. We win about $40 there. Okay, we can come back. There are 3 limps, and we look down at a nice playable jack 9 of diamonds in position. Go ahead and bump it on up to $20, and we get a lot of callers. We are going 6 ways to this flop, only out of position to the button, but here we go, and it comes down 10, 8, 6, 2 clubs, and a spade. We got ourselves an open-ender and an overcard. Big blind checks, and now the original limper is in the tank, and then decides to lead all in for 116. Middle position folds, hijack folds, and now it's back on us. And I think his most likely holding here is going to be just top pair. So we have 8 outs for open-ender and another 3 for our jack, unless he has jack 10. So I think 11 outs is pretty generous. You know, we've got 44%, so we are definitely getting a profitable call here. Yeah, we're just going to have to call this off and pray that we can win one of these. So I make the call, and now button goes into the tank. And it would probably be good if he gets into the mix. And he does. He regems 180. Big blind folds. We're obviously never folding here. Praying for a queen or a 7. The turn comes down. The beautiful queen of diamonds. We have the nuts, the river. Keep it clean. It is the 4 of clubs. That is not good. Under the gun says my straight is good. Button takes a second. We show our hand. He looks over at it and then tables his. But it just pocket kings. Luckily, he went for the flat pre with pocket kings, got it in on the 10-8-6. We got very lucky, and now we're up to $700 in our stack. We're only about $450 away from unstuck. We're finally winning a big pot. It seems like a while, but very, very, very nice to hit the queen on the turn there and pick up this $600 pot. That button straddle is once again live, but we pick up king queen offsuit. We bump it on up to $15. And oh my goodness, do we go multi-way? We're going 6 ways to this flop. We got a great 1-3 game over here. And it comes down very nice. King, Jack, 4, rainbow. I kick things off with a small bet, $30. Player to my left folds, and the middle position goes ahead and jams his stack for $60. Everybody else folds. We have the easiest call of our life. We flick it in, the turn comes down. The ace of spades, not a great card. River is another king, so not bad. I table my hand, and my opponent has the king 10 offsuit, and our king queen kicker will play, and we scoop in this $213 pot. We are now getting very close to even, guys. We're like $300, $350 away. Momentum has changed. Let's keep things going. There are 2 limps. The lady to my right is raised to 20. We have ace jack offsuit, definitely worthy of a re-raise. So I bump it on up to $60, and we take it down pre-flop once again. Very nice. Button straddle is live. There are 2 limps. We look down at ace 10 offsuit and put in the re-raise up to $30. Folds back around to the button straddle, who makes the call, as do both the limpers. So we're going 4 ways to this flop, which comes down queen 4-3 rainbow. Action checks to me. We're a little bit too multi-way to start bluffing, so I just go ahead and check this, and button checks behind. Off the turn, it's a 9 of hearts. Small blind checks. Big blind now puts in a bet of 60. We're a bit too multi-way to float this, so we just go ahead and fold our hand. That button straddle is once again live. We are once again caught in the blinds, but we go ahead and bump it on up to $15 with the pocket fives. We got a caller from middle position as well as a hijack cutoff folds, and now button puts in the squeeze, but only up to $75. Actually, that's a pretty reasonable size. He's in position. We're probably, I don't know, I feel like call's not great, but we're a little bit deep, so I do go ahead and make the call. Middle position gets involved, and the hijack folds. We're going 3 ways to this flop, where we get an okay one. It's 9-4-3 rainbow. I check. Middle position now donks for $75. Button folds, and it's back on us. This guy is just a little bit too crazy to be folding pocket fives here. He could definitely do this with a hand like ace 4 or ace 3 suited, or even like ace deuce. He could just have jack 10 as well. Like, he's wild. Okay, we got to call 1. We head to the turn. It's pretty good. It's a 9 of diamonds, making it a bit less likely that he's donking with top pair. I check it over to him, and he snap bets $200. Now it's back on us. I think the bet was just a little bit too quick. He didn't even have to think about it. I think he just has a 9 here, and we're probably just drawing to 2 outs, so I don't think we can continue to hero call him down. I'm just going to fold. If he bluffs us, he bluffs us. That's all right. I get out of the way, and our stack is down to 600 now. In this next hand, the lady to our right has raised it up to $10. Very small raise for her, but we have ace queen suited. I don't think there's any other option here. We go ahead and re-raise it up to $35. We get a cold caller from the small blind, and when it gets back to her, it does not take her long. She puts in the 4 bet up to 150. I look over, she's only got maybe 120 behind. I don't think we're ever getting it in, dominating her. Like, this is probably just ace king or a pocket pair, so not much we can do. We just have to fold ace queen suited pre-flop. That really hurts. How do we go from 12 bigs up to 50? Oh well, ace queen suited will hit the muck. Button straddle is live, and we are once again in the blinds. We bump up the pocket 9s to $15. Unfortunately, we just take it down pre-flop. 9s for us have taken it down pre-flop very, very often. On to the next hand. We make a little bit of a loose opener with a 10-9 offsuit up to $10. Button makes a call, and small blind, who's an absolute animal, goes ahead and re-raises, but only to $32. Folds back to me. I can't fold any 2 for this price, so I make the call, and very happy to see button get out of the way. So we're going heads up to this flop. We do catch a piece on the queen 9-5, 2 hearts, and a spade. Surprisingly, my opponent now checks it over to us. He's been very aggressive, so I'm a little bit worried. I think best course of action here is to check back. We lose less money versus his traps. We can't really fold versus a check raise against this specific player, and I think it's better to let him blast off. So I check it back. The turn comes down, the beautiful 10 of spades, improving us to 2 pair. And now my opponent does decide to go for a bet. $35 is his wager, and I think he doesn't have too much here, so I don't think raising accomplishes much. So let's just go ahead and set the trap. We make the call, and we head to the river, which is the beautiful 4 of diamonds. Unfortunately, my opponent does check it over to me. It's probably pretty clear that he has ace high at this point. So let's try and get him to pay us off with ace high. He has been making some very light call downs. So I go ahead and put in a bet of 125. He gives it a little bit of thought, 15, 20 seconds go by before he decides, unfortunately, just to fold his hand, but picking up a nice little pot here. Okay, folks, this is a big one. The player from last hand just got absolutely coolered. He had ace queen, the other player had aces, the board was ace queen 4 rainbow, and they got it in for like $1,200 each on the flop. Just absolutely brutal for ace queen, and he is on pure monkey tilt. Like, Curious George doesn't even get this upset, but this guy is just steaming right now, and he just rebought for 200. So we have a bunch of limps. The button straddle is live. I look down at pocket nines, and I go ahead and raise it on up to $35. Button gets out the way, and now small blind snap shoves his $190 into the middle. We are loving this. This guy can just have 4 deuce offsuit here. He's probably ripping any 2 right now. Now the original limper goes into the tank, and I'm a little bit worried, and does decide on the call to 190. Folds back to me, and not a great situation now. This guy's kind of stealing our spot. But I give it some thought, and I have played against this player quite a bit. He was in a few of the hands in the beginning of my 100 to 100k challenge. We played some 1-3 versus him, so we do have a little bit of history here. And I find that he always loses on value by playing too fast and just overbet shoving. Like, he has aces and the flop comes down 7-4 deuce. He'll just rip $600 into a $30 pot in like a second. It's just how he plays. So I'm not worried too much about aces, kings, queens, jacks, tens. I think he just snap rips those pre. And given that he knows how tilted the small blind is, I think he could be calling here with a hand like 7s or 8s. And maybe obviously some ace high, some king queens. So I think with small blinds essentially dead money, our 9s are doing well enough versus under the guns range. And I don't expect to be, a 20% dog too often here. So we are going to go with it. We're going with our pocket 9s, folks. And let's see if we can win an all-in pre just once on this challenge. I go all in. My opponent snaps us off. We go to a flop, $1,100 in the middle, and it comes down 8, 6, 4, 2 diamonds and a heart. We do still have an overpair, but it's a very connected board. The turn is not the best. It's the 4 of spades. Small blind can definitely have some, 5-4 offsuit, 4 deuce offsuit. River is okay. It's a jack of spades. Looking a little bit dicey. Small blind has pocket 7s. Very surprised to see a hand that strong. But we do beat pocket 7s. And under the gun has the ace king offsuit. And we managed to hold for an all-in pre and scoop this nearly $1,000 pot. Guys, we're only $50 away from unstuck. What an absolute comeback. Okay, folks, look how good this game is. Button straddle is live. Small blind has blind raise it up to 26. Big blind goes ahead and makes a call, and we look down at pocket 8s next to act. I go ahead and put in the raise up to $100. We are very deep, so I don't mind going a little bit on the bigger side here. I think 75 would be okay if we were a little bit more shallow, or maybe just an all-in. This is it's already 50 something, $60 out there. Anyways, both these opponents do make the call, so we are going 3 ways to this flop, which comes out all right for pocket 8s. It's jack 6-5 rainbow. Action checks to me, and our hand needs quite a bit of protection. We're very happy to fold out 10-9 suited, queen 10, king queen, all those hands, and we don't need to go too big here. So I go ahead and put in a small bet, $75. Small blind does make the call, and big blind folds. Hence a turn, and it comes down the beautiful 8 of hearts, improving us to a set. Small blind checks it over to us, and I don't want to blow him off a hand like ace-6, so I want to size down a little bit, and hopefully we can get a little bit of value here. So I go ahead and bet only $200 here, and my opponent unfortunately just folds, but still nice to pick up a massive pot here. And folks, with that hand, we are unstuck. This god dang button straddle is live once again, and we are once again in the blinds, and once again with pocket 8s. So we are once again going to raise it on up to $15. We get 2 callers from the field before it folds around to the button. who jams all in for 150. Given that the straddle is live, this is about 25 big blinds. I think I'm pretty happy to stack off here with 8s with an additional $30 overlay. So that's what I do. I go ahead and shove it all in. I don't expect my opponents behind to be trapping often enough, so they both fold. And we go heads up to a flop, which comes down ace, 4, 3, 2 spades and a club. Not a great flop. Turn is the jack of clubs. River is the 6 of hearts. I roll it over. My opponent has queen, jack, offsuit. Folks, if you ever are like, hey, I kind of need to pay rent, or maybe I owe Dimitri some money, anything like that, you just find me at a table, pick 2 garbage cards like 10-9 offsuit, 5 deuce offsuit, queen jack offsuit, and just shove it all in, and I will be happy to call it off and double you up. Because that's what happens every time. Anyways, we are still up for the day, so can't complain that much, but we are not going to be winning this hand. We've got ourselves ace-king again. The button straddle is live, and we are stuck in the blinds again. We bump it on up to $15. We get 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to this flop, which comes down not great. It's queen 3 to rainbow. I kick things off with a check, and action checks all the way through. Off to the turn, it is the deuce of spades, so a really good card, and I think I've got the best hand at this point. People will be betting, pocket 4s or 3-4, so I think it's very unlikely I don't have the best hand here, so we're going to get a little bit of protection, a tiny bit of value, and I go ahead and put in a small bet of 15, to which only the button makes a call. We head to the river. It's not a great one. It's another 3, so now we're chopping with any ace. So I decide just to check it over. My opponent snap checks back, so I assume we're chopping until he rolls over pocket jacks. He actually didn't look at his cards until the river, so yeah, that's a pretty nice blind hand. That could have been all in pre. Like, versus this opponent, I'm not folding ace-king, even though we're 400 big blinds effective, we would probably just run it, so dodging a bullet there, I think. In this hand, the adult straddle is live. There's a limper, and then low jack has raised up to 26. We look down at 9-8 of spades in the cutoff. The raise isn't too big considering there's a straddle, and we do love to play pots with the low jack, so I go ahead and make the call. Button also comes along for the ride, as well as the straddler, so we're going 4 ways to this flop, which comes down pretty okay for us. It's 10-8-6 rainbow. We got the backdoor flush draw, a gut shot, and middle pair. Now the straddler does lead out for $40. Low jack, after a bit of thought, does call. I think raising here is a bit of an overplay, so let's just call and try to improve on the turn, and button does get out the way. We're heading to the turn. This pot is now up to $234, and it's a good one. It's a 3 of spades, improving us to a flush draw. Under the gun, doesn't think for too long, and now jams $244 into there. Really not loving it. And now low jack, interestingly enough, reshoves for $434, and now it's on us. I think I spent like 2 minutes here trying to do math and trying to figure out a way to see if this call is profitable or not. And I really couldn't figure out a way to do it. So if we think about the ranges, low jack most likely has an overpair here. And under the gun probably has at least 2 pair here. He can definitely have a flop straight. He can definitely have sets. So we're calling $434 to win a pot of what will be $13.50. So our odds don't need to be that great. What is that, like 30%? If you consider our flush, let's say worst case scenario, under the gun +1 has a set of, let's go 8s. So our 8 or 9 are no good, which means we have 9 flush outs, or I guess 8 flush outs, and then 3 straight outs, 11 outs. So we got 22% versus him. But our trips outs and 2 pair outs are probably live versus low jack. So I don't know if we are getting the correct price to call here or not. So in the end, I couldn't decide. I thought it was very close. I thought this was like just break even or something. So I decided to flip a coin. It landed on call. So we are in the mix. We make the call. River, looking for some help. It comes down. The deuce of diamonds. That is not ideal. Under the gun +1 has the 9-7 offsuit. That is the nuts. Low jack actually had 10-8 of diamonds for top 2, so our trips outs were actually no good against him. Neither were our 2 pairs, so knowing these hands, this is a very bad call. This was like worst case scenario. Low jack has top 2, and under the gun has a straight. That is really bad, and the 7 of spades. Overall, we had lost quite a bit of money on that call, given what they had, but considering what I thought they had, I don't know. If anyone knows how to do the math for this, please comment down below and tell me how much money I actually lost making that call. Anyways, on to the next hand. Okay, folks, this is an interesting one. The adult straddle is on once again, and I raised the king-queen offsuit up to $15 in the hijack. Now, the player who was absolutely wild, who 3-bet jam pocket sevens, and is still just going absolutely crazy, does go and re-raise us to $60 on the button. This is a very big re-raise, 4x in position. And anyone else, I'm pure folding king-queen, even to a normal size 3-bet, but versus this opponent, we are going absolutely nowhere. Our hand is most likely ahead right now, so we go for the call. We go heads up to a flop, which is not bad. It's ace, queen, 5, 2 spades, and a club. We got middle pair, backdoors, bonanza. We check it. He fires in a ginormous bet. A snap bet to 160. This feels pretty bluffy already, and I'm not believing this at all. I think we're ahead almost every single time here, so we go ahead and make the call. We get a decent turn. It's the 3 of spades and pretty to a flush draw. I check it over once again, and he snap shoves 480 in. I don't think there's anything we can do. Let's pray he doesn't have some random ace. I think we're ahead 9 times out of 10 here. And I think very often he's just simply drawing dead. He's been going absolutely bonkers for the last hour or so. So nothing to do here. We make the call, and he rolls over the ace 10. Oh, that is brutal. Can we get some help on the river? We need a king, a queen, a spade. It comes down the 6 of spades, and we manage to suck out versus his ace 10. He does make a 10 high flush, but the king high flush is the nuts, and we are scooping in this $1,400 pot, and we got it in very bad twice in a row. You know, these guys are going nuts, and we are somehow running into it. But anyways, can't complain. We are back up to a $1,600 stack, and we're up $450 on the session so far. On to this next hand. There's a limper. We bump up the pocket jacks up to $15. A brand new player who has just sat down now 3-bets me up to $50. Folds back to me. I don't really like 4-betting jacks at 1-3, so I go ahead and make the call. We go heads up to a flop of queen 6-4 rainbow. I check it over, and we face a very quick, very big bet of $75. Not loving it, but are you really going this big with aces or kings or queens or ace-queen? I don't really think so. I'm not buying it. This is a really big bet, and it was really quick. So we're going to go ahead and call, and the turn comes down the queen of clubs. I check it over to my opponent now, and he once again bets very quick for $115. Now, it's really not making sense if you have aces or kings to do this, so he's repping like just ace-queen, but I really think he's just got ace-king here. I really think he's just got ace-king. So we are going to close our eyes and call this guy down. I toss in the $115. We head to the river. It is the king of clubs. Absolutely brutal. I check. He snap shoves 260 in. Honestly, I'm very confused. Is ace-king really shoving this river? Does he just have queens? It seems like a crazy line to take with anything that's value. You know, maybe he just has ace-queen, but really going 75 on the flop with ace-queen? I guess he did bet very quick, didn't really give himself a chance to think about it. I don't know, I'm quite curious, but I don't think we can call here. We beat ace-10, and like that's it. So we're just going to have to fold here. Pretty unfortunate. We get pocket nines, bump it up to $15, and you're not going to believe it. We took it down pre-flop once again with the nines. Okay, guys, I am really struggling to notate my hands. We had pocket jacks, then pocket nines, and now pocket queens and back-to-back-to-back hands. That is nuts. But we bump it on up to $15. We get a call from the low jack, the high jack. So many callers. We are going 4 ways to this flop, which does not come down great. It is 8-7-6 rainbow. Small blind checks. I decide to check. Really don't want to start betting here. Low jack now puts in a very big bet of $55. And high jack is now in the tank. And then raises it up to $200. Sorry, small blind. Now it's back on us, and I think we are just going to get out of the way here. We have somebody who just potted it into 3 players and then a raise to 200. Yeah, we fold. I think low jack got it in, and small blind had flopped the straight once again with the 10-9. Just a few hands later, we now have pocket jacks. Start off the session very card dead. It's going much better now. But we have 2 limps, and the lady to our right is raised up to $25. Definitely going to go for the re-raise here. I bump it on up to 75. Don't want to go too big as she's not too deep. Folds back around and she does make the call. We're going heads up to this flop, which comes out okay. It's 9, 9, 6, 2 spades and a club. Gonna go for a small bet here. I put in a wager of $60. She snap shoves. If she got a 9, she's got a 9. We make the call. We are once again off to the races. The turn comes down. The beautiful jack of diamonds, river, 3 of clubs, and we managed to hold versus the 8, 7 of clubs. So picking up a nice little pot here, up to $1,600 in our stack, folks. Let's keep it going. We have a button straddle, and the lady to our right is raised up to 30. I decide just to flat the ace queen this time. Last time I 3-bet, we got 4-bet, and it was pretty bad with ace queen. So we're just going to flat, and we end up going heads up to this flop, which comes down not great. It is 9, 8, 7, 2 clubs and a spade. She checks it over to me, and I'm very happy to check this one back. Heading to turn, it is the ace of spades, improving us to top pair. Still are losing to ace king, though, and maybe some ace 8s, ace 7s. She does go for the bet of $35. No sense in raising here. We just go for the call. We go to the river. It is the 5 of spades. Not a great card. The backdoor flush completes, and any 6 is now a straight, which could be pretty bad to try and get value from a hand like ace 10 or ace jack. But she does check it over, and we are going to try to get some value. Don't want to go too big. We are targeting something like ace 10 or ace jack, so you can't go too big here. So I put in a bet of only $90, and after a little bit of thought, she just folds. All right, folks, on to our very last hand. We have ace king once again, bumping on up to $10. We only get 2 callers, so we're going 3 ways to this flop, which comes down real nice. It is king jack for 2 clubs and a spade. I kick things off with a small bet, always 1/3 multi-way, $10, and both my opponents make the call. Hence the turn, it is the deuce of spades. Now there are 2 flush draws out there, but we do block both of them. So I want to go for another bet here. Don't want to scare off a jack, and still want to get called by like 6s, so I don't go too big here. Just $30. Unfortunately, both my opponents just fold, and that is it for our session. We managed to cash out for just around $1,800. Stack's a little bit off on the graphics, but seriously feels so good to come back from $250 in our stack and to book a much needed win.
Guys, we did it. We booked a win. It did not look like that was going to be the outcome. We were down to just $250 in our stack. I did not want to add on anymore, and we managed to run that up to $1,817 despite losing, a really big pot. Like, I think we put in like $500 or $600 with a flush draw, gut shot, and pair, which I'm still very unsure on the math. If you guys know how to work that out, let me know down below. I would absolutely love that. But yeah, we cashed out for $1,817. That's a win of $657, I believe. Put the numbers here. We were down $1,912 for the challenge. So now we're probably down, I don't know, $1,300. We're negative 1,300-ish. The numbers will be right here again. So yeah, it's looking up. We did not get a ticket in the KK Poker, what's it called, satellite, but overall pretty good value. I think there was like only 13 players, so 1,600 the prize pool, so big overlay. We will try again. If you guys do want to try and jump into the satellite, that is for the Starlight tournament, which actually last day would probably be today, so that's not running until the next one, which will be at Park. But the link is in the description if you guys want to check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we get some more run good, because this was almost my biggest downswing at 1-3. Let's hope that it doesn't get to that, and I will see you all next week. Thank you so much.